was literally a child born and raised in the housing projects right in the city of Memphis. And I literally, as a young girl, I was bullied, I was molested, I was physically, emotionally, spiritually abused. A lot of people don't understand the spiritual part, but that's a little deeper, more conversation for next episode. So it's just, growing up, just, watching my family, just watching the whole current situation. This is something that I know as a young lady that this is not what I want to see for the rest of my life. It gave me so much confidence and motivation towards when I went out to college, because I was the baby of 10. I even slept in the bed with my mother all the way up until my senior year. Not having my own bed literally gave me a boost and a motivation and a confidence. Being bullied gave me the same thing, because I knew and understand that if I went back and told, my siblings that I was being bullied at school, I would have caused confusion, or I would have caused the fight, or I would have caused someone to get hurt or harmed. So it's a lot of things that I kept in as a young child, and just growing up through that whole transition of, elementary, junior high, and then going to high school, and then going out to college and realizing that, hey, I can be more.
Hey everybody, I'm back with another episode of So Success Stories. And today I am talking to my friend, my new-ish friend, Crystal Clark Chatman. And I said new-ish is because when I think about friends, I've been friends with some people for 20 plus years. And Crystal, I've met doing the work and trying to help youth and serve youth. And I met Crystal. She is the founder of Beautiful Spirited Women. And she is doing amazing work with youth. And you can see in the background a swimming pool. And that's not for her. That is for the special girls that she's working with. So I look forward to her. Tell us a little bit more about that. But Crystal, tell us a little bit more about you.
Hello, Summer. I am so excited to be here on this afternoon, but thank you so much for inviting me on your beautiful platform. But my name is Crystal Clark Chatman, and I'm the founder and CEO of Beautiful Spirited Women Girls Mentoring Program. BSW has been founded since 2010. We have been serving boots on the ground faithfully, committed and dedicated for the last 14 years. This program literally came from a voice from God. And he said, hey, I need you to go out and find passionate women that is passionate just like you. And I need you all to be restoration queens for the community in which you grew up in. I am literally a mother, a wife of four, a mother of four and a wife. And I am just so literally excited to travel. I love poetry. I love bowling. I am a proud graduate of Lane College, and I have my master's in business administration from University of Phoenix. And I just literally love life. I love being, the vessel and a servant leader for God.
So this is exciting. So first of all, I did not know you went to Lane.
Yes.
In my hometown, Lane is basically across the street from my high school.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I went to JCM. I graduated from JCM.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
that is
right across the railroad.
yeah, right there, right there. And that's cool too, because I started the So What Foundation 2011. I started So What, my speaking business 2010. So we're right there at the same timeline on all of that. Well, I'm
Yes.
excited to get into this interview with your story and to share more about what you're doing and the impact that you've been making over this past 14 years in the lives of youth, which is so important, and very near and dear to my heart. So
Yes.
first of all, let me get into it. So in this program, I have what I call the So What Success System. And I bet you agree with this, especially as a mentor. It is my belief that anyone, regardless of their circumstances, can be successful, can achieve success if they learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices. And then they can have what I call so what success. That's success no matter what happens in life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Crystal, you have a story, you have a journey, you are a so what success woman. So let's start with the first one. Talk about some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome to get to where you are today.
Awesome. So literally, I understand that everyone has so many obstacles, but I was literally a child born and raised in the housing projects right in the city of Memphis. And I literally, as a young girl, I was bullied, I was molested, I was physically, emotionally, spiritually abused. A lot of people don't understand the spiritual part, but that's a little deeper, more conversation for next episode. So it's just, growing up, just, watching my family, just watching the whole current situation. This is something that I know as a young lady that this is not what I want to see for the rest of my life. It gave me so much confidence and motivation towards when I went out to college, because I was the baby of 10. I even slept in the bed with my mother all the way up until my senior year. Not having my own bed literally gave me a boost and a motivation and a confidence. Being bullied gave me the same thing, because I knew and understand that if I went back and told, my siblings that I was being bullied at school, I would have caused confusion, or I would have caused the fight, or I would have caused someone to get hurt or harmed. So it's a lot of things that I kept in as a young child, and just growing up through that whole transition of, elementary, junior high, and then going to high school, and then going out to college and realizing that, hey, I can be more, than I was when I was growing up. So let me make something out of myself. But I really want to give a big, huge shout out to my mother for pushing me. I'm the first one to graduate from college out of my family, my immediate family, and to know that she was like, hey, I want better for you. Not that she couldn't, she didn't want better for her other children, but at the time she just couldn't afford it. So me, having the grades, and having, people right there in my corner to say, hey, I need you to go, I need you to push. So overcoming that and looking back over my life, I'm like, I am so glad that I made that next step. Or I'm so glad that I stepped out on faith, because I could have easily just stayed, there. I could have easily just, said, hey, I'm just going to stay here because everybody else stayed. Why I can't stay? So pushing myself, and believing in my mom, saying, hey, if you go to college, or if you just go away from here, get away from your environment, it will make you a better person, or it will make a better life for you. So just overcoming that pretty much give me life and give me joy. And that as of today, I am showing the girls in my ministry and everybody that comes in contact with me that you can have more. Don't keep your mindset below sea level. Get above sea level, and not get in the midst of thinking that you are about to drown, because the more we attach ourselves to the things, or where we're trying to go in life, we will overcome anything. So that's one of the,
I love it.
obstacles, yeah, that I have literally, experienced. Like, just continue to just go to the next level.
So
Mm-hmm.
I go, so go to the next level. And I was doing this though to list the obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot. That was
Yeah.
a lot, but I know that's and I've been through a lot of the same ones that you said too. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those things they make you who you are. They're tough, they're hard, but it's the reason why you're so effective in the work that you're doing now, right? Because now you're working with young people, young girls
Mm-hmm.
specifically, who you can identify with probably each and every one of them in some way because of the
Right.
things that you've been through. So talk about the mentoring program a little bit now. Why
So
you
beautiful
started
for the
it, what
women.
it
Yeah,
is.
yes. So pretty much 15 years ago, I literally quickly heard that voice from God, and I was at rock bottom, in that, environment that I was in. And I'm like, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? Because every time I continue to do what I want to do, everything just continue to fail and fail and fail. And I just got frustrated. So I started literally getting myself back into Bible class, getting myself back into having that relationship with him, because we can giggle and laugh and talk to our friends and talk to our families, but we need to do the same thing when it comes to God, when it comes to establishing that relationship with him. Like I literally talk to him like, he's my father. Like we laugh, we talk, and sometimes people be probably thinking I'm talking to myself, but I'm literally talking to God and just asking him for the next steps, for guidance, for where do you want me to go? Because if I go where I want to go, it ain't gonna be good, So I continue to ask him to guide my footsteps. But fast forward, I just literally just got myself literally in position and told myself, hey, you can do this. You can do this. So I said, hey, I'm going to have a meeting at IHOP right there on Shelby Drive in Whitehaven, and I'm going to bring women together who has a passion for making a difference in youth girls' lives. Like, what is it that you didn't have as a young girl? We need you today. Like, we need you to pour back into these girls because now they need mentors. Now, keep in mind, growing up, I didn't actually have mentors. I just had like my sisters and my mom and my teachers. I didn't have an outside organization where I can go to, or an outside program, or my mama couldn't afford, certain programs anyway. So I didn't have the outside, but I did have the inside. But how many girls who don't have the inside? How many girls who don't have mentors at all? They just have the streets, right? So having book sense and street sense is like double trouble. But then you got some that say, hey, I only got book sense, but they really need street sense because of today's time. And like today's time is totally different from when me and you grew up. So now it's like you gotta literally mentally get into these girls' heads and say, hey, this boy don't love you. He don't. He just wants to, do this and that. But being consistent with that and staying, faithfully in a program, people say, how have y'all been going this long? And I say it's really by the faith of God and being consistent, being boots on the ground, being visible, and literally making sure like you don't have to see us. I know God see us. And when I say we fast, we pray, we host workshops. We have hosted over 550 free workshops, completed over 575 community service projects. We are a global organization now. And I mean, if it wasn't for God, because to tell you, Summer, I have threw the towel in 500 times. Everybody tell you that, I'm sure, on every interview. I have threw the towel in 500 times. I have cried behind closed doors. I have threw books at the door. I have, called several people, say, I'm done. I quit. I don't want to do this no more. But then he always remind me every time. It could be a sign, it can be a board, it can be a stop sign, it can be a letter that comes in the mail, it can be a grant that just came from out of nowhere. Like, we don't get government funding, we don't get city funding or county funding. So within these last 15 years, it's really based off the meaningful connections that we have, connected with or build those relationships with. And even you just blessing us with your book for the girls. And we have several girls that come back and say, oh my God, this book is absolutely amazing. Go and follow Summer. She is an amazing mentor. She's one of the ladies that inspire me daily to continue the work that I do. So it's just, the program is amazing. And if BSW was around, and So What was around when I was young growing up, by all means, I would have told my mom, hey, put me in the program, because that's where I need to be in order for me to get to where I'm trying to go. So,
well, I see firsthand the work that you're doing. And I know, because I do similar work, of just, it's not important work. It's crucial work. It's life-changing work. And unless you're doing the work, and especially, or if you're an educator, if you're somebody who works with young people, you don't even understand the magnitude of the challenges that our young people face. And so I praise God for you, and you doing, and the other ladies that are a part of your team, doing the work that you're doing. And I just applaud you. Something else you said that I'm like, oh, I'm coming on there. I'm coming on it. Well, it's good. So let me get to the next part of the SOA success system, which is eliminating excuses. So everybody has obstacles.
Yes.
Everybody has obstacles. A lot of people even have the obstacles that you just named. Some people have even more obstacles. Some people have less, right? But that what makes you stand out is you overcame those obstacles.
Yes.
But in order to do that, you had to eliminate some excuses because you could have made a whole lot of
Yes.
excuses. And I know you were around a lot of people
Yes.
who make excuses.
Yes.
So talk about some of the excuses you had to eliminate to get to where you are today.
Awesome. So we literally, Summer, just went through that. Like, I'm the person, I'm very big on self-care. When it comes to the organization and the ministry, you can't pour for everybody know you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So we literally have stopped into the organization and started taking mental health breaks. We have literally, set a structured time. This is what we do from 9 to 5. You know how, like, on 5 Heartbeats, when he said you need to come to my office hours from 9 to 5, that is exactly what we do in BSW. Like, when it's literally 5:30, if we are not working on an event, I literally stop at 5:30, and I also have boundaries as well. So after 5:30, if you contact me and it's not an emergency to a point where BSW is about to get shut down, do not contact me. No parents, literally no nothing. So if I continue to set boundaries and break them just because one person say, hey, I need my daughter to sign up, I can expect them to do the same thing. So making excuses, if you put something in place and you set a boundary, you have to abide by that boundary, because people are going to continue to walk over you. They're going to continue to do what they want to do, and you're going to continue to allow that. You have to stop making excuses, or stop, setting boundaries and then breaking them, and then get mad when the people do break them. So that's an excuse that constantly come up. Another excuse is that if you continue to talk about the same things, like if we did something like 5 years ago, right, and you have to find a solution to it. If it's not working for the program, if it's not sending your program the increased numbers that you're looking for, if it's not helping your program grow, you have to stop making excuses. You got to find a solution. You got to find a way to literally get it done. And in BSW, we had what they call it, a spree, like years. And I look back and I say, oh my God, we wasted like 2 years talking about the same subject. So why are we continuing to make excuses about the same things? If you see that you're not going anywhere, find a way to go somewhere, or find a way to press the gas down, because we are quick to press the brake. I don't care. A squirrel can run out. Somebody else can, run in front of the car. As soon as you press that brake, you got to find a solution to the problem to make everything, better. Another excuse, we always, talk about what we can't do, or what we don't want to do. If you signed up for it, do it. Quit signing up for things. Quit putting your name. A lot of people want their name attached to something. And if you want if you're going to continue to attach your name to something, you have to apply. You have to put the work in, because if you got experience, you need to go in there and help somebody. You need to go in there, uplift them, go in there and pray for them, go in there and just be sisterly. And we continue to make excuses on why we can't do something, but we still got our name attached to it. So those are a couple of excuses.
Yeah.
Literally just linger around, especially in nonprofit. And so you can have a whole roster of volunteers, but when it's time to volunteer and you call everybody, ain't nobody available. That's an excuse to me. So you keep making excuses on why you can't volunteer, but your name is still on the roster. So it's just a lot of things that you can just throw out there when it comes to ministry and nonprofit, and even with your business. A lot of people make excuses, but we got to turn those excuses into purpose. And
right. Well, let me ask you this, because I know everything you just said is super valid. Talk to me a little bit about, the list of obstacles that you had as a child. Being molested and being bullied and all of those things that happen. Talk about how you came through those, some of the excuses you made, because we know those things happen, unfortunately, all the time. But a lot of people, and some people watching this, might have experienced those things, but they don't. That's an excuse. This happened to me, so I can now. I can't.
Come on. Yes.
Talk about what the mindset or the actions that you took to get rid of those excuses, because you could have made that excuse. Just like, I'm a teen mom. I could have been an excuse. But it's
Yeah.
like, nope. So talk about how you eliminated some of those excuses too.
Right. So I literally pretty much wrote down all my excuses. This is so funny, but I wrote down every excuse that I can make on the left hand side. And then I also wrote down on the right hand side everything that I can say to not make that excuse. For an example, of course, I was molested when I was growing up, but is molestation when I was at a younger age going to stop me from going to where I need to go? So if I continue to, I mean, you could continue to tell your story as a testimony and be transparent when you are talking to an audience. But if I continue to allow molestation to control me, I wouldn't be able to have the strength to be able to talk to these young ladies when they come to the program. Oh, I'm making an excuse because it's giving me trauma again, or it's giving me a trigger, or that's where you have to come in and start building that relationship with God. When I tell you, God will literally take over your body, just like how and I ain't trying to get spiritual or anything like that. It's just like how the devil will take over your body and control your mind and your thoughts and have you doing things that you don't supposed to be doing. Guess what? God can come in and take control of your body and have you float. When I say I have literally been floating within these last 3 years, Summer, when it comes to making excuses, like I have to catch myself. I did a TikTok the other day and I said, baby, you is boring if you cannot, like, literally, if you're not talking to yourself. You are boring if you can't talk to yourself. I literally talk to myself and tell myself, Crystal, no, you can't do that. No, you know better. Crystal, no, you're not going to make an excuse today. Like, I literally talk to myself, because you can't tell people how to do certain things or motivate people on how to do certain things or encourage people how to do certain things when you're not doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
You're making an excuse for everybody else, but then you turn around and expect everybody to do this because you told them to do it. But then you look in the mirror and you down yourself, or you make an excuse for yourself. That's not fair. So either you be quiet, focus on you, make sure you're not making excuses, because when you make those excuses, you're failing yourself.
Yes.
You're failing yourself. And I had to overcome that because I used to be the same way. Oh, I'm not gonna do this because my mama said I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough money to do this. Baby, I will find a sponsor here in a minute to make sure these girls got what they want. If they ain't, right now we needed some edge controls because the girls kept saying, Miss CC, you got us some edge controls. I put out 5 texts and say, hey, can I get 5 people to donate this? Baby, the girls got edge controls. I could easily sat there and made an excuse why I cannot contact nobody to get them some edge controls.
The priorities, honey, they need some edge control.
They need them edges laid. Do you hear me? So I said, if you continue to do that, you would never have anything.
Absolutely.
You will never have the resources and the things that you need if you keep making an excuse on why you can't go. Babe, I will be at every networking event, especially if I can make it. Now, I ain't going to run myself crazy, but where I need to be at or where I need to go, that's just like me making an excuse, can't come to your event during the week because you know my story, right? But guess what? I can send somebody. To represent.
Well, I've always been that person. It's like, okay, you can either make an excuse or you can make it happen.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That is it. And so you definitely are making it happen. You are making it happen. Okay, the third part of SOA success system is calculating choices. Mm-hmm. So throughout our lives, we all have obstacles. We can make excuses. And part of overcoming those obstacles and getting through those excuses is the choices that we make. And I always say that too. Success, it doesn't just happen. Success is a choice. It's a straight up choice. And it's a series of choices, right? So talk about some of the calculated choices that you've made throughout your journey.
So honestly, choices is literally like do or die. You got to be careful when you make choices, because a lot of times we react off emotions. So I tell the organization literally all the time, I'm not making choices based off my personal choice. I'm making a choice based off the organization as a whole. One thing I always tell myself, even though I'm protecting, myself, but we have to protect the brand of Beautiful Spirited Women. So the choices that I make, I don't make it because it's personal for me. I make it because I don't want BSW or beautiful spirited women out there looking, any kind of way. So just one of the choices that, we talked about on our way down here from Florida, that, these young girls literally can, make a choice not to, sleep with a young boy versus sleep with a young boy and end up, pregnant. You as a teen mom, I wasn't a teen mama. So that is where I come in and to make the choice to say, hey, I'm going to hire Summer to come in and be that teen advocate mom and talk to our girls to make sure they don't make the same, not that you just because you was a teen mom, you made a mistake, because now, as you see, we at this age to where, hey, you a grandmama now, you're a beautiful mother now. You don't have no little bitty kids like me running around. Because, back in the days, they was like, these girls young and they having these kids and they fast. But I'm sitting here thinking, like, in the back of my head, Summer, I'm like, man, mama, why I ain't have my kids young? But now I'm sitting here 40-some years old with a 1-year-old, like,
oh my gosh, I didn't realize you had a 1-year-old.
yeah, so that was a choice that I made, honey. I thought I had COVID and had a whole human growing inside of me. It's the choices that we make that will literally set our lives free. It will literally, make a difference in our life, or it will cause confusion. It
And
will
it's funny,
cause
it's funny.
discomfort. Yeah.
You are so right. And it's funny because life is also about perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And the work that I do with So What is learning how to embrace really whatever the circumstance is, and then making the changes where you can, right? And so I've always thought about that. I never would have chosen to be a mama at 15.
Yes.
Never would have made that choice. But
Yes.
because it did happen, it does put me on the other side where I'm like, okay,
Yes,
I'm
honey, I'm
45 and
free. I ain't gotta call a babysitter. I ain't gotta wait on somebody come pick him up, and things
so
like
it's
that.
how life
So
is. Yeah,
mhm,
I was just gonna say, and so it's balance, right? So I raised him by myself and poor
yep. Mhm,
versus somebody who's more established and a partner ideal. So you make the best of whatever situation that you have, right?
right.
Make choices. We all can make choices to make our situations better. Talk about also your choice to start Beautiful Spirited Women. Like, what were you doing before, and
Mhm.
what made you start, and now you're doing it full time? Talk a little bit about that journey of
Yes.
choices.
Oh, we. So before Beautiful Spirited Women, I was a financial controller. So my background is in finance. So I was literally in finance from, let's say 2001 up until, I started Beautiful Spirited Women. So I literally operated out of three branches in the Tennessee area, and I just love financing. I love, counting money. I went from, depositing over 35 to $65,000 in the bank. I didn't tell nobody then because I didn't want nobody to come rob me,
I know that's right.
but I can tell you now. So I came from that background, literally, coming into a situation where the boss that I had, could not adapt to me being a single mother. So I literally, had made this question and asked her, hey, my lunch break, can I run and go get my daughter, which I was 45 minutes away from where I stayed at. And working, and I said, hey, I need to go run and get my daughter because the bus would not pick her up from daycare and take her to grandmama's house. So I had to literally drive all the way to the house, pick her up, take her to daycare, and come all the way back to work. And she made it so hard for me because around that time I needed to go and pick her up. As a manager, I needed to be out knocking on doors and collecting payments, or I needed to be out trying to get contracts for my office to reach bonuses, right? So just going so many months with the frustration, she's making it hard for me, to her boss trying to say, hey, I don't want you to quit. I mean, she just made it so difficult for me to work there, even though I was hitting every bonuses. Like, I was having income tax checks on just a regular every 2 weeks plus my work check. Okay, so I was making good money, but was I in a good position to where she didn't want me to make that money? It was like so many things was going through my head. So I had to go home and I had to, at my boyfriend at the time, I had to talk to him and tell him, look, which is my husband now. So I had to talk to him and tell him, look, I'm not going to be stressed on the job. I'm not going to be frustrated on the job, and no one is going to get to talk to me in that tone or that way when I am doing the work. I am putting in the numbers, I'm putting in the time, and she's just making it so hard for me to be there. So I had to make that choice, and talk to him and say, can we afford for me to just, be off or leave this job, which at the time we oh Lord, we couldn't leave. I couldn't leave my job because of the financial, status that we were in. Summer, I kid you not, even though we was there, but dropping one income to go to one income, it is nobody but God. Within these last 15 years, Summer, I have not worked for anybody. In these last 15 years, God made it fit for me to make the choice that I made 15 years ago to be there for my daughter and to say, hey, my daughter was everything, and I'm not going to keep dropping her off to anybody just to keep her until I get off work. And a protection of what I went through growing up as a little girl, being molested because I was here, there. You ain't nobody for to get my daughter. Nobody. And God saw fit for me to be there for my first daughter, my son, and my baby now as a stay-at-home mom, a wife, and still working full-time for BSW. And this is my first year receiving something as a pay from BSW in 14 years. So God sent overflow to my husband to make sure our household was taken care of financially in order to see fit for me to be at home with my children for these last 15 years. So that is a huge choice.
Yeah.
And me stepping out of faith and listening to God and being obedient is another whole assignment. And people do not understand how powerful that can be, for the rest of your life if you just be obedient and making that choice.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And there's so much I could say that I won't because this is your interview. But I feel that everything that you just said, and stepping out on faith, which I did too, 2013. And I didn't have a husband that had my back.
Yes.
It was just me. But I do know that God does provide.
Yes.
And especially when your heart is in the right place and what you're doing, it's not even for you. It's not for you at all. And I think that's awesome. I think it's amazing. I also know that you said this was your first year receiving something, and I remember us having a conversation maybe a year ago that you were still volunteering, that you were doing all this work, and you were still a volunteer for BSW and not getting paid, not getting compensated for the work that you're doing. And so I'm happy to hear that, and I actually made a note for us to talk a little bit afterwards about some things. So that's awesome. And I actually just also thought about the other thing that I thought about when you were talking. You said set boundaries, about setting boundaries. And I'm looking right here because I think, I just had a book signing for this book that I wrote for my grandma's. And one of the lessons is set boundaries.
Yes.
Set boundaries. So that's what you triggered that thought. I was like, yeah. That's one of it's 100 lessons, but that was one of them. That was one of the most powerful ones. So, okay, Crystal, you obviously know how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices. You are a success woman. You know how to achieve success in spite of any challenge. Yes. And with a beautiful attitude and a beautiful spirit. And a beautiful spirit. But what is your personal definition of success?
Just being obedient. Success can come in so many special forms if you just be obedient. And when I say be obedient, listen to what God has to say. Stop listening to everyone around you. I mean, not listening to in that form. Like, you can get motivation, you can get encouragement, you can get so much from people. But when I say that voice is your key. That voice is your answer. if you just listen to him. And every time I listen to him, everything has literally worked in my favor. You know how they say, don't listen to your second mind, listen to your first thought. Listen to your first thought, because during I should have listened to my first thought, but every time you listen to your second mind, it's like it went left or it didn't work out, right? But that first mind, I mean, that voice from God, then that first, I mean, that's just as powerful as it is. And when I say every time I listen to him, and I know it's him, it's that, oh my gosh, the sweet whispers, the sweet the voice is just so genuine. And I'm not saying I listen, I hear him every time, you know, like every month or something like that. It's probably like every blue moon when I really need that definite answer. I know that it's him. I know that it's him. And when I tell you I go, I have literally left with no money and moved in. I told this lady, look, this is all I have. I showed her my bank account, showed her, you know, this is all I have. She said, baby, just move your stuff in. When you get your next check, just pay what you can, and we got you. This lady didn't know me from Adam from Eve, you know. So just listening to him packing up, you know, this is from a previous, packing up with no money, move. I mean, oh my God, I can go on and on. But
I
just
know.
that's my definition of success, is just being obedient.
I love it. I love it. So one last question for you. One last question for you, because you've given lots of advice throughout this entire interview. But what's one piece of advice you would leave somebody who's watching this, for somebody who wants to be successful, but they experience obstacles, they have challenges? What's one piece of advice you would give?
I will leave, just go for it. Go for whatever it is that you want to do in life. Don't be afraid. And literally know that whatever you want to do in life, you can do it. You just got to work hard. You got to be consistent. You got to understand that no's are going to come. Like, you wouldn't believe how many no's that I have had, but those no's made me fight harder. Those no's made me say, hey, let me go and learn this, because if I didn't get, you know, those 3 no's, that means I need to find another way to figure out how to get a yes. Even if you know, apply for something, don't stop, apply again, keep applying, because every time they see your name, they're going to say, hey, oh, she not giving up. Let's go ahead and see what she about. Let's go ahead and talk to her. Go for it,
I
because
love it.
the only way that you're going to get what it is that is for you and what God has for you, if you go for it. And don't think about money, because Crystal Clark Chatman didn't have nothing in her bank account and still barely got something. But I say the overflow is flowing. Do you understand? It's going to come in all shapes, forms, and fashions, those blessings. Because once you get connected to meaningful people, he's going to connect the dots. He's going to put you in rooms that you've never been in. He's going to put you beside people that you never, you know, imagine being. I ain't talking about celebrities. I'm talking about beautiful, spirited people. Okay. He's going to put you around people that you need to be around in order to get the success that you need. So go for it. Go for it.
Go for it. Crystal, this has been great. I'm so glad we were finally able to talk, and I'm about to talk to you a little bit more. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the work that you were doing, the life-saving work that you were doing. And girl, go get ready to go get in that pool.
Thank you so much, Summer.